You, everybody, for tuning in. It is another episode of the Do It Again podcast. I am your host, Coach Jake. Oh, wait, no, Do It Again podcast. That's the wrestling one. The number one podcast, which is really where Do It Again is going. I do keep my Do It Again podcast. What's up, Brett, Martin, Nathan, King Chris, Subtime Insta? Happy to see you guys. Where you at? I'm out in Denver. What's up, Marco? We got Canada in the house. I know we got Canada. What's up, Marco? Good to see you, bro. So, MTMG becoming a regular. I see my friend. What's up, Marco? Good to see you, bro. So, Nathan Brooks out on the YouTube. So we got Instagram responding, YouTube responding. Who else do we got? Come on, say hi. Let me know where you're at. As ever, you can interact with me through the comments. That's how we will get the conversation going. Nathan in Hugo, Colorado, man. All right, dude. I'm up in Arvada. I don't know if you ever make it out by Denver. It's a suburb of Denver. Wesley, hey, bud. So I want to talk about money. How many of you guys have enough money? What is money? Okay, somebody give me a definition of money. Who's got it? Brazil. What's up, Wesley? Out in Brazil. We got Canada, Brazil, Colorado. Who else is listening? Where else are you from? So what is money? What is money, man? Come on. This is something that is so ingrained in our day-to-day life. Do you not even know what money is? I mean, you know what it is. It's paper or coins or now digital. Maybe it's Bitcoin. Maybe Bitcoin's money. Louisiana, what's up? All right. So what's money? Maybe if you don't know how to answer that, maybe that's why you don't have any. What is money? Nathan, this got deep quick. I don't, is money deep or is money shallow? I guess it depends how much you have, right? My money is deep, baby. So what is it? What is money? I mean, we all talk about it. Pink Floyd's got a song about it. Shit, dude, this is like an important thing, isn't it? So what is money? We just passed in the United States the Inflation Reduction Act. It's all about money. Inflation and deflation is all about money. What's money? What is it? What is an alternative? Is there an alternative money? You freaking commie bastards. What's the alternative to money? Why has money been around for so long? Nathan, money is fake. It's gold. Oh, so gold is money. Gold's the only real money and all other money's fake. Okay, we can go with that. Where is everybody from? Are you all from places that don't have money? Nobody knows what money is? Come on, man. So at least we got Nathan saying money is gold. Money can be gold. 100% has been gold for a large portion of history. But it's not really considered so much of a money today. And now it depends how you define it, right? How would you define money? Well, let me define like a website definition. Let's see who we got. This is from Merriam-Webster. Okay, definition of money. Something generally accepted as a medium of exchange, a measure of value, or a means of payment, such as officially coined or stamped metal currency, money of account, paper money. I think that nails it really, right? So money is a medium of exchange, right? Marco nailed it. It's a system to exchange goods and services. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but I am not a communist. And the reason I'm not a communist is because it's stupid. Look, you can have all the fantasies you want. You can imagine that you're role-playing and LARPing and living in the Marvel Cinematic Universe or Dungeons and Dragons or Game of Thrones or anything you like. But I guarantee you, in the real world, money is not going away anytime soon. So when we talk about money as a medium of exchange, usually it's in contrast to another a way of exchanging, and that is barter. Okay. Now, the thing that we're talking about is actual exchange, not theft, not taken stuff. Okay. A medium of exchange. Now, Nathan says LOL for sure. So I understand where you're coming from, Nathan, because you like the idea of gold as money, mostly because it's harder to manipulate gold than it is to manipulate fiat currency, which is currently the money du jour, like the money that people use, even though it's actually not even I mean, now it's these it's just digital ledger entries. It's not even cash. Like I go to places now, and this freaks me out. They don't even take cash. That's no bueno, man. I don't want to live in a world where they don't take cash because, I mean, you can look at the implications in a place like China. So let's say you're into Trump is president and you hate Trump. Well, if he has control over the money and they're watching you, then they can freeze your money and you can no longer buy and sell. Let's just do some algebra here, some variables. It's not Trump. Now it's Biden. You hate Biden and you say something online and now you can't buy or sell anything. Okay. So I don't like this move towards digital money because now there are some cryptocurrencies like Monero that have all the properties of a money, like could be used for exchange, is divisible, all that kind of is a measure of account, all that kind of stuff. The things that define money, like the functions of money. Monero is a great one though because it functions like cash insofar as it's hard to trace. It's truly crypto. The crypto isn't like encrypting the value, it's actually encrypting the transaction as well, right? So Marco, Scientific Wrestling Canada, says this is already happening today with CBDCs are coming, and what he's talking about are central banking cryptocurrencies. I think that's what you're meaning to imply. So okay, let's go. Nathan is saying, and I'm sorry, I just missed this. Money is a unit of measurement. Okay, yes. It is it's a way of measuring value. It's a medium of exchange, and it's a store of value. You can use it to store. Now, why does everybody always get all freaked out about inflation? Do you know about inflation? Okay, now some of you guys that are coming in from the Scientific Wrestling page, listen, I will talk about wrestling. All you have to do is ask me questions about it. Catch wrestling, grappling, pro wrestling, anything. But today I want to talk about money. And look, this is important too because catch wrestling started as a prize fighting sport, and it was for money. They were betting, cash, money, wages. This is where the first professional wrestlers came from, by the way, is they would bet, they would go work in the mines, say up in Bolton or Wigan, in the north of England, in Lancashire. And after a long day of work, they'd get their pay. And some of these crazy bastards, sadistic, sadomasochistic bastards, would bet their wages because they could double their wages. They're like, dude, I think I could beat you. They'd wager and go home and make twice the money for just having a wrestling match. These were the first professional wrestlers because eventually some of these guys got so good that they started just to earn a living off of betting, okay, on themselves, right? And I'm sure other people were betting on these wrestlers as well. And this is where bookies come in, the mafia comes in, fixing the fake pro wrestling that we have today as a result of that, fixing fights. So, but it's money. Now, let's talk about like why is everybody like blame money? Like money is the root of all evil. Everybody's fucking heard that shit. Is it? Is money really the root of all evil? What do you think? Yes, no? I don't think money's evil. I think what's evil, let's define what's evil. I don't know. What's evil to you? To me, evil would be slavery, rape, thievery, murder. Now, I think there's a common theme in all of these things, and that's lack of consent, meaning you're doing something against another person's will. So I think maybe the litmus test for that which is moral and that which isn't moral, at least one component has to include consent. Now, you can look at this in other moral systems. I think one of the most modern and well thought out as a response to fucking Nazis, okay, World War II, the Nuremberg Code. First, they have do no harm, okay. I think that's good. Harm might be ill-defined, so you might want to tighten that up a bit. But the second one is about informed consent. And if somebody's going to do a medical procedure or prescribe something to you, you have to be fully informed and consent. So I don't think it's off base to say money is actually consensual. Okay, now wait. Consensual in the exchange. Say you like my hat. And you like my hat more than you like your $30. If I like your $30 more than I like my hat, there's a positive exchange, a win-win, a winner's exchange. Both people walk away happier for it, right? In the case of professional wrestling, when it was a sport and bet upon, because it wasn't phony fucking theatrics, they willingly said, I agree to bet you based on this outcome, and I will live by that, and I will pay you if I lose, and you will pay me if I win, right? So consent. This, I think, is a cornerstone of ethics. In fact, the founder, who's credited with being the founder of capitalism, Adam Smith, really got credit for these ideas in his interesting year to be published, 1776, The Wealth of Nation, a brief inquiry into the history and nature of the wealth of nations. Something like that. It's been a minute since I looked at the title. But you have to understand, Adam Smith was a chair of moral philosophy, I think, at the University of Glasgow in Scotland. He was part of the Scottish Enlightenment. Okay. And his book prior to The Wealth of Nations was a theory. It was called A Theory of Moral Sentiment. And basically the whole idea was that morality is based upon empathy and being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and largely consent, right? So to me, an exchange of money, now this money, I think it was Nathan said, only gold is money. Well, I mean, we could straight barter, right? So that's another way to exchange, and it's moral. It's just not very efficient, right? So if I'm a cow farmer, like I raise cows, and I want to trade a cow for a chicken, well, I mean, I could butcher them up into smaller pieces so I could get the exact number of chickens I want. But what if they want the cow for milk? Well, maybe I could milk it and bring the milk to market, but what if they want it for a pet? Then so the problem is these barter situations. Let's say I want to travel. Let's say I want to go on a family vacation. I'm a cow farmer. I want to go on a vacation from England to Italy. Okay. What am I going to do? I got to buy shit in fucking Italy. I got to eat. I got to pay for stuff. What am I going to take a cow with me? And how am I going to break that up for a one night stay in a hotel? And then what do I do with the rest of the cow? Like, I'm going to carry a cow around. So barter is not efficient. It's ethical based upon this idea of consensual exchange. But now, how can money be unethical? Right? What's the deal with Jesus getting all pissed off? I'm not really Christian, but like, it's a famous story of him getting pissed off at the bankers, right? And what can you do? Like, so why is everybody always up in arms about inflation? What's the deal with inflation? Why is inflation bad? Does anybody know? Let me give you an example. If, let's say, you're 65 years old and you want to retire, okay? So now keep in mind, you're 65 and you're going to live to 85, okay? Now, if I were to buy a car, let's Google this. Let's see what is the average cost of a car in well, let's just say in the year 2000. But right here it's saying, let's see. Okay, whatever. It's asking me for all this crap. Okay. So it looks like the average price of a car in the year 2000 for a new vehicle was $21,000. Okay. So now let's do, so if it was $20,000, now what's the average price of a car in 2022? Okay. Well, it doesn't really say, well, let's say here, what's the actual cost of owning a car? Okay, so for a sedan is now, well, it doesn't really, this is the best I'm getting right now off the top of Google is 44,000. So it's twice as expensive. Now, here's the problem with inflation, okay, and how money can be immoral or unethically practiced. When it is inflated, the value of it is changed. Does this make sense? So, what you used to be able to buy for $100 now costs $200. So, let's say you're retired and you're on a fixed income. And when you retire, you spend all this time, you're a good boy or girl, you do everything you're told, you work for the man, you get a pension, or you work for government and you get this great pension. And let's say at the end of, you retire at the year 2000, 2001, something like that. And let's say you're bringing home $2,000 a month. Okay. Awesome. You retire. You're like, I'm not going to work. I have $2,000 a month coming every month. Awesome. And that covers your bills. Well, the problem is your rate of money stays the same. Or let's say you had savings, $100,000, and all you can afford if you're going to live 20 years is like $2,000 a month or whatever that number is. But you're stuck with $2,000 a month. Okay. Well, all of a sudden now your rent is twice as expensive. Your house is twice. Now that $2,000 a month covers half of what you originally. Now, do you understand now? So this is why people get pissed off about inflation. Now, this has nothing to do with money itself as an exchange. It has to do with what is accepted as exchangeable money. Now, here's the fucking kicker. What's accepted as exchangeable money are dollar bills, okay? Or the dollar. It could be credits in your debit account, in your bank account, or on a credit card, but they're denominated in dollars. Well, the United States government is, well, the Federal Reserve really, the combination of the two. I don't know if you understand how money is inflated, but the Federal Reserve banks, which were created in 1913 based off of the banking system in Germany under the what was that guy's name in the 1800s? Oh God, it wasn't Weimar. It was Weimar. The Weimar Republic preceded Hitler. Okay, And what's crazy is the Weimar Republic was a constitutional republic. So this goes to show you the crazy shit that happened in Nazi Germany can happen anywhere. And in fact, maybe it is happening today, especially given the abrogation of the Nuremberg Code most recently with all this bullshit injection nonsense. That was in violation of the Nuremberg Code, forcing people with under duress to take these experimental drugs, man. Right? But the we modeled the banking system after the Prussian banking system, okay, under Bismarck. Now, that led directly into the Nazis coming into power, whether you like it or not. We modeled that in the 1913 with the Federal Reserve Act. It was also the same year that we instituted an income tax, which is so crazy. We had just fought the Civil War, where more Americans died than any other war to end slavery. Well, that's debatable, but let's just go with the common narrative that the Civil War was there to end slavery. And all we did was then institute an income tax, which is a form of slavery. Robert Nozick, the brilliant, rest in peace, but the brilliant philosopher, in his book, Anarchy, State, and Utopia, expands on this. There's a great video out there, The Tale of a Slave by Robert Nozick. You guys should check it out. It basically establishes that an income tax is a form of slavery. It's just fractional slavery, right? You get some free time, but a portion of your wages are going. Now, here's the fucked up thing. So inflation, the way it works is the Treasury Department issues debt. This is called the national debt. Why? The national debt's fucking massive, right? Trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. Like, I think if we divide the national debt by the number of Americans, it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars each of us owe. Hey, I never signed anything. Where's my consent? But we're on the hook because the IRS, who just, by the way, got 85,000 new IRS agents, and in the job description, they must be, if you're going to take that job, you must be able to enforce laws, like, and kill people, basically. Like, this is what it says in the job description, like, must be able to use lethal force. Crazy. Okay, so the national debt is really the Treasury giving selling our debt, selling bonds to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve gives us money, and then that money trickles out. Who gets the money first? The Treasury. So they get the dollar when it has the same purchasing power. So the government gets, and all the people who have government contracts and get paid by the government get the money when it's more valuable, before it's matriculated out into the trickled down out into the rest of the culture, where then it's diluted and weaker by the time it gets to those people in the private sector furthest from the public sector transactions. It's fucked up. It's not right, but it is what it is. It passed as a law. Okay, so now this is why people get bummed out. But here's the irony. The national debt, the interest is paid by your income tax. So buried in this Inflation Reduction Act is a hike on income taxes. Do you understand this? Now, you can do all you want and say all you want and wish and bitch and moan, but the fact is this: a raise in taxes is going to fuck the lower class and the middle class more than the upper class. And I don't just mean wealthy, I mean powerful, because they can afford the tax advisors, the tax attorneys, all the people needed to figure out loopholes and minimize their tax exposure. Does that make sense? Now, here's the fucked up thing. The national debt, the interest on the national debt is going to eventually, by around 2030, be more than can be covered by its tax receipts. So what happens when if you go to your credit card and the interest keeps racking up on your credit card, on your debt, and you can no longer even pay the minimum payment, just the interest, not even anything towards the principal? What happens? You're in big fucking trouble. It's called bankruptcy. 2030, this is not Alex Jones fucking statistics. This is Congressional Budget Office, General Accounting Office. Like, these are legit statistics. So, by that, Marco, Scientific Wrestling Canada, says, this is wild. Not many understand this. Yeah, unfortunately, I had to go to grad school. I originally went to grad school as in a Master of Science in Applied Economics program. And I just loved it, man. I just really took to it. Ended up doing graduate level monetary theory and economics, A+ in it. And I was like, I just going to be honest, it just wasn't challenging enough. So I went into financial engineering, which is financial mathematics. Now that was really fucking hard. That was hard for me, but it was cool. It was cool. So yeah, I mean, not a lot of people understand the mechanics here, but the thing is this now. So there is a relationship, and this is very hard to find. I've actually sent out feelers to a bunch of my professional economist friends because I'm not a pro anymore. I'm an entrepreneur and a businessman, and a wrestling salesman, right? So, and promoter and coach and all that other shit. So here's the deal. There is an interesting relationship between, so inflation, don't get fucking misled. Things like the consumer price index, when they say like, oh, the CPI, inflation has risen by 8% or it's 9%, right? They're looking at a basket of goods over time, what their price raises, eggs, cars, housing. It's just they put all this in an index and measure it over time, and they call that inflation. Okay. Marco says this is real. I don't know. But they thank you, Marco. So the CPI is, you could control the basket of goods being measured. And we've noticed and heard in the news, there's all these supply chain issues, right? Wood, car parts, microchips, all these supply chain issues that happened due to fucking lockdowns, right? Which were mandated by the government again, who also printed all the money, right? Who is violating the Nuremberg Code. It's just absurd. It's so fucking absurd, and nobody's fucking doing anything about it. I mean, I yell at the top of my lungs, and everybody just goes with the narrative, or they go with the fear. It's the craziest shit. I can't even believe it. I've been like this forever, though. I mean, anyway, so the point is this: there's a relationship between debt and inflation, because you have to understand, money now is not gold, right? This is what Nathan was talking about, why he likes gold, because you can't manipulate, you can't print more gold. I mean, you can mine more, but it's a very slow rate of inflation because new gold is not found that often. Now, the Federal Reserve last year, I have the numbers here. I looked it up before the show. Let's see if I can't find it. It's, let's see. Oh, Federal Reserve Bank. Okay. So in 2021, let's see. Currency circulation, a direct measure of demand for Federal Reserve notes, increased by 4 billion notes, or $212 billion between 2020 and 2021. Okay. So between June 2020 and June 2021, the amount of dollars printed, okay, made up, just completely traded for debt, for treasury notes, was 212 billion in that 1 year from 20 to 21. The prior year was 5 billion. So we went from printing 5 billion a year to 212 billion. Like a lot more. Okay. But I want you to understand something. That's injecting new money into the system, right? Inflation is actually what they call M1 is the measure of money printed and injected into the system in the manner in which I described how the Treasury gives away debt in exchange for the Federal Reserve printing, making up this fucking money. It's such a scam. And everybody knows it and everybody just goes with it. It's so stupid. But anyway, $212 billion in that 1 year. Okay. That is the amount by which, let's say that the pre-existing, let's say that was, I think some of the numbers that have been going around is that 40% of all the dollars in circulation are new since 2020. Right. So that's a lot of money, 40% new money, supposedly. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I keep hearing. So people are freaked out like, fuck, 40%. That's going to mean massive inflation. And then they go look at the CPI and all these prices, and they just get this confirmation bias. Instead of maybe considering, well, maybe the price increases aren't because of the injection of money. Because give me a second to explain this. But maybe the price increases are actually because of the supply chain problems, right? We know from basic economics, not even advanced graduate level, just basic fucking high school, college, Econ 101, supply and demand curves. If the demand remains constant, but the supply goes down, the price increases. Right? You follow that? If there's less of something, supply goes down, it's more scarce, but the demand for it, the amount of people that want it is the same, then the price goes up. Okay, this isn't even fucking controversial. So if there are restrictions in the supply chain, that very well could affect price, not necessarily the injection of money. So you're saying, well, fuck, man, you're saying that in 2020 alone, there was $212 billion of new money injected. Some people are saying as much as 40% of all money in circulation was printed. Like, that's not inflationary? Okay, normally that would be. If you just had a real base understanding, like a Murray Rothbard 1987 view of how things worked, sure, okay? But you have to understand, there's another great economist. He's kind of an idiot, but a broken clock could be right twice a day. And he was right in regards to this concept known as debt deflation. Okay. So all money now is no longer backed by gold. Nixon took us off the gold standard. There's these laws that changed in the world. Bretton Woods. You can Google all this shit. I don't want to go into it. It's pretty boring. But the bottom line is this. The economy, the money now is backed by debt. The amount of money that the Treasury could throw down, which is basically you're a surety. Your income is the surety on that debt. Do you understand? The money that's withheld and taken from you by the IRS, without whether you like it or not, man, before you even see your check, it's already withheld. Unless you run your own business, and then you see it and you're like, fucking hey, are you kidding me? And they just hired 85,000 more agents willing to use deadly force. I'm telling you, that's not for the billionaires. That's for you, man. You better learn how to protect your shit. So self-defense, isn't just about guns, isn't just about martial arts. There's such a thing. I ran a radio show on AM radio, third oldest talk radio station in the country, K-Talk, AM 630, I think was the call numbers. It's been so long, almost 10 years. And my show was called Mental Self-Defense. Well, guess what? Now I'm past all that shit. I don't care. I don't really care about politics. They're all fucking idiots. It's trashy. All politics, trash. Zero value created, just scumbags, a bunch of fucking popularity contest winners and creepy bureaucrats. That's really what makes up politics. But you need to start looking at like financial self-defense, right? And so if you get audited, man, they're going to come at you and they're going to fuck you over, dude. And they're going to take you for everything you got. Just telling you. Like, just telling you. So you need to, like what I have is I have an attorney on retainer. I use Prepaid Legal. I've got multiple attorneys. I have layers of this shit. So do you know Prepaid Legal? Prepaid Legal is it's like legal insurance. You pay like $30 a month and you get legal services, like you could get medical services with medical insurance. It rolls forward. So I've never really had to use it. So I've had it for over 20 years. And I do use it, but usually I use it just for legal advice. I've never had to use the trial hours that I get, but you get like an hour a month because I've had it so long. I have like 200 hours of attorney time. 200 hours at like $400 an hour. 20 hours, 200 hours of trial time. That's good. Then on top of that, I have one of the United States top tax attorneys in my fucking phone. Okay, because you need these kind of things. You may not. You better fucking start though. Okay, you need a really good accountant and you need an attorney on retainer. Prepaid Legal is totally affordable for everybody. Okay, so the fancy pants attorney may not be. Okay, but Prepaid Legal is. I really recommend you look at it. You can go to I won't throw up a screen burn, but my name Jake Shannon wearelegalshield.com. You can see it, all the offers that they have there. JakeShannon.wearelegalshield.com. You can see the offers there. Really good shit. Anyway, all that money is being put into the system, and debt is now money. Okay? So the challenge is this. How much debt, and this is where I said earlier in the conversation, I put out some feelers to some of my economist friends. How much money is pulled out of the system? How much debt is pulled out of the system every year? We know how much is injected. Okay, but how much is pulled out? What are you talking about, dude? What are you fucking talking about? Money being pulled out of the system. I'm talking about defaults. I'm talking about liabilities. I'm talking about bankruptcies. This is what debt deflation is. And this is why people still talk about debt. That's why I wrote a book in 2011. Remember helicopter Ben Bernanke and QE1, QE2, QE3, quantitative easing, all that shit. Do you remember this? It's not that long ago. It's only 10 years ago. I wrote a book called End, like the end, like the Doors song, The End. Endonomics. Go to endonomics.com. My book's on Amazon. I think it's like $5 or maybe even free on Kindle because I just think it's something people need to get out there. And I show how debt deflation works and why QE1, QE2, QE3 did not end up completely devaluing the dollar and why that's not happening today and it won't happen today. In fact, inflation, one of the greatest tools of analysis in terms of politics that I ever heard of came from a brilliant man named Thomas Zaz. I don't know if you know this guy, S-Z-A-S-Z. He was a rebel psychiatrist, psychiatry's biggest critic, brilliant man. I got to speak with him for a couple hours on my radio show. He's a huge hero, a huge influence of mine. But he always had this line in the Latin called cui bono, C-U-I, new word, bono, B-O-N-O. Who benefits? So who benefits from inflation? Well, like I was telling you, that old person, they definitely don't benefit because they've got $100,000 to live the rest of their life. Well, $100 when they retired might have done it if money had stayed that value. But by the time they're 85, that $100,000 is gone, man. There's no way. Okay. So it's not those people who save that benefit from inflation. It's the people who incur debt because guess what? Student loans. Back in 2000, when did I take out my loan? Somewhere around 2000. Took out like $50,000 in loans for my for my graduate degree. I don't pay that back at the year $2,000. I pay that back in the inflated 2020. So inflation doesn't actually benefit the banks. In fact, deflation benefits the banks. But the only way they're going to benefit from deflation is if they have you thinking that money is inflating and it's actually working in your favor. Cui bono. Look at what I'm talking about. So what I've actually asked my economist friends is, help me figure, and I Googled the hell out of this. I don't have access to the academic tools I used to 20 years ago when I was doing this stuff professionally as a statistician and a quant in these banking institutions. But what you need to find out is how much money is destroyed, is written off from bankruptcies, government, corporate, and personal. That you can offset. So let me give you an example. Lehman Brothers, which crashed during the last economic, the Great Recession or whatever, right, from 10 years ago, which inspired me to write Endonomics. They bankrupted. Now everybody's shitting because in 2000 to 2000, June 2000 to June 2001, there was $212 billion printed. Lehman Brothers was $690 billion pushed off the table. That was the biggest one. That was the biggest. But how much money did they print during QE1, QE2? So all those people that lost money due to Lehman Brothers, you might know them. A lot of people lost their whole fucking nut during the Lehman Brothers collapse. This is a 200-year-old company that just fucking took a shit and died. Okay, a lot of people had their money in it. That money is just gone. Bankrupt, gone, toast. That money was pulled out of the system. This is something nobody talks about. This is, except me. Maybe there's a few other deflation people out there, but nobody's really aware of this. Do you understand? So you need to kind of understand all the levers involved in the machine. And if we really want to get crazy about deflation, look at the amount of derivative liabilities. We're talking quadrillions. A quadrillion's 1,000 trillion. A trillion's 1,000 billion. A billion's 1,000 million. A million's 1,000,000. It's fucking huge, dude. Like you can't even fathom. Okay? So this whole fucking convoluted, crazy conversation, I don't know how many people actually can follow what the hell I'm talking about, but I'm doing it anyway. What is money? So money in the sense of Adam Smith, and money in the sense of the dictionary definition as a model, as a medium of exchange, the most ethical system of human interaction probably ever invented. I don't think we'll ever really surpass it in terms of a fantastic moral way for complete strangers to interact in a positive manner through mutual consensual exchange, voluntary exchange. That kind of money is the epitome of good, ethics, positivity, consent. When that money is put into the hands of people who can manipulate it through obscure laws and processes and basically make money up out of thin air and thereby dilute it or concentrate it through deflation or dilute it through inflation, that's manipulative. There's nobody consenting to that. The old people who worked their asses off and saved a certain amount of money and are basically being robbed through inflation, I don't know anybody who signs up for that shit. Okay? So anyway, we're clocking close to 45 minutes. I don't know. Is this fucking boring to you? This is just where my mind goes. It's like I either talk about wrestling or business or finance or so let's talk about what do you do? In my 30s, I really was I'm just a person that always goes for it. If I see a problem or I want something or I want to meet somebody, I make it happen. It's just part of what I do. Okay. I've been this way since my childhood. I wanted to be the most knowledgeable guy about catch wrestling on the planet. So I sought out all the most knowledgeable guys I possibly could and just fucking did more to try to model, record, document, learn from them as possible. That the result of scientificwrestling.com. Okay. And all the ancillary projects. Shoot Pro. By the way, did you see my the new blurb with Forrest and Connor, or Forrest and Stephan Bonner for Shoot Pro Wrestling, which is an offshoot of Scientific Wrestling. You got to check it out. Go check out my Instagram. I put it up on YouTube. I think it's on the Facebook for Scientific Wrestling. Go check it out. It's amazing. I'm so stoked. But I did this in finance. Is why I went and got my master's degree in the hardest thing. Like applied econ wasn't even hard enough. Okay. I did the same thing in my study of language. I got an undergraduate in English. I studied everything to do with it, from linguistics to how does a hypnotist use language, like everything. I wanted to learn everything about language. I wanted to learn everything about money and finance. I wanted to learn everything about wrestling. I wanted to learn everything about being a great family man. I wanted to learn everything I could about being a fantastic human. So I just go and I do it and I try to find the best. Okay. So now there's a lot of fucking trial and error involved with that approach. I've learned as I get older, it's much quicker to get mentors. That's why I went after Carl Gotch, Billy Robinson, Wade Chalice, all these guys, Dick Cardinal, Gene LaBelle, I wanted to learn from these guys because I could now take all of their knowledge and all of their testing and add it to what I'm doing and my knowledge, my testing. Well, when you're younger, I didn't do that with everything. And so I got very involved with politics because I was very freaked out. I knew I've had this knowledge since the mid 90s, because that's when I started studying it. And I was freaked out and I started having kids. I was like, dude, I need to run for Congress. I need to fucking get into politics. I touched that fucking hot stove. Will never touch it again. It is gross. It is like the worst thing ever. Okay. Ever. So anyway, I really tried to get involved with it and make a change. Okay. No Way Jose says, when it comes to linguistics, did you ever speak to Chomsky? I've never spoken to him, studied his stuff. The propaganda model with him and Walter Lippmann is fantastic. In fact, I do cite it in my book, Teocon, which is basically how the neocons, the neoconservatives, infiltrated and took over the Tea Party and turned it from like a libertarian Ron Paul thing into like a douchebag McCain neoconservative fucking jerk off. But his propaganda model is all over that book, because I think it's if you haven't seen The Manufacture of Consent, it's a great thing. I saw that documentary back in high school. So we're talking in the 80s. I saw this documentary when it first came out, maybe 89, 90. I can't remember when it first came out, but brilliant book. Really give you a great understanding why democracy is a fucking joke. It just is. And Chomsky was onto it. Now, just because he was right in that regard, he's kind of a dummy politically in some ways too. But I do believe that his propaganda model was fantastic. So anyway, Noah Hedzay says, Manufacturing Consent is a masterpiece. Yeah, it's really good. It's very good. I would recommend that you read it, because I do think you'll come away with a better understanding of how the world works for having read it. I'm not so confident in any of his other works that you'd have that same benefit. Anyway, so I can't even remember where I was going with this. This is what happens when I do these podcasts at fucking 9:00 at night and I'm exhausted. But I do try to go after the best, and I tried to learn all these things, and so I went into politics. I learned it was trash. If you want to change things, the only thing you can control is yourself. You can't control other people. Can't be done. Can't be done. It's just impossible. You cannot. Now, you can manipulate people through trickery, deceit, controlling information, things like gaslighting, that bullshit. You can do that. Now, you can't exactly control them like a remote control, but you can nudge them and manipulate them in a way, okay? All of it's fucking gross. My point here is, you're not going to probably change politics. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, all you idealistic people. I was there, okay? I also have the harassment from the IRS to prove it that I was there. I have the death threats, not just to me but to my wife, all kinds of awful shit, right? So you don't want to mess with it. Trust me. The path, and I talked about this yesterday when I was discussing this HBO Max documentary, The Anarchists, about this anarcho-poco gathering of anarcho-capitalists and some of the real realities that they got confronted with, that their ideals did not hold up. You know, their philosophical ideas were not congruent with the facts of reality, and they really, some of these people died or lost all their wealth, or it's tragic. So but in it, you see there's these people who all of a sudden became mega wealthy. They're all anarchists, okay? And they start meeting in like 2016, 2017 in Acapulco, because it's just like a conference, You could have a conference of dentists. You could have a conference. Well, this is a conference of fucking anarcho-capitalists, whatever. So they're there. Now, now all of them, a lot of these anarchists, some of them are just like hippies that want to smoke weed and be left alone and, do drum circles and shit like that. And just sell shit on the boardwalk at Venice Beach or something. And then others are like Ayn Rand nerds on crack, on steroids, and they're the ones in Bitcoin. Now, this is before Bitcoin takes off. So they go to the first couple conferences, they're all equal. All of a sudden, Bitcoin blows up and there's like Bitcoin millionaires, billionaires. And some of those same people now are flying in on private jets. Some of those same people are flying in on yachts or coming into the thing on yachts. And guess which group was the actual free group in terms of freedom, in terms of like anarchy, no rulers, having more options in life? It was the wealthy ones. So what you need to do, in my opinion, to be free is you do need to get right with money. You need to understand all the trickery and the bullshit, some of the stuff I discussed today on the show, so you don't get manipulated and bamboozled. Stay away from the stock market, for example. And you need to learn how to make money. Okay. So one of the things I always suggest is, there's a couple ways to make money, ethical ways to make money. One of the best things you can do is to find something you're passionate about and that you do for free anyways. To me, that was scientific wrestling. And it's been around 20 years. It's taken me around the planet. It's given me respect, prestige. I've been able to meet and become friends and equals with people that were like my idols and my mentors. So a lot of great things. Now, but that's not going to, that one, I'm working on that one, making me obscenely wealthy, which again, it's not about the money, it's about the freedom. But that project's not there yet. The other way that you can get to wealth, besides going after something you're passionate about, because you'll have a lot of energy, a lot of expertise because you're passionate about it. But the problem is you might be a dime a dozen like that, like somebody at Comic-Con. Everybody's into fucking Marvel. Everybody's into DC. Everybody's into this shit. So like, you might be the nerdiest of the nerds, but you may have a hard time making money with it unless you're right at the source, right? So the other way to do it is to do something that nobody else wants to do or can do. This is why mathematicians can make money, programmers, accountants, garbage men, doing things that other people don't want to do. Now, if you end up having a passion that is also something that other people don't really want to do, look out, dude. You're destined for a lot of money as long as you pay attention and learn from your mistakes, right? LJ 2000 KT says, whoa, 100%. Okay, so if you guys are interested in that, obviously, if you're interested in anything to do with grappling or grappling literacy, in particular as it has to do with catch as catch can, I'm your guy. You can check out Scientific Wrestling. I'll answer any question that I can. It's my passion. I love it, and I love sharing it and making people better. And I love making people money with it. That's why I designed scientificwrestler.com, is so that you could actually make money with it. Go check it out. You can see the offer. It shows you how you'll make money. Scientificwrestler.com. But I don't just do it with wrestling. So I've helped turn my wife's software company into a massive success. I've launched finance consultancies. I've helped multiple companies make millions and millions and millions of dollars. I do that through my consulting firm, Number1 Coaching. Now everything's coaching, not consulting. So number1coaching.com. It used to be named Thales, but I do like the branding behind Number1. I think it's much better. Plus, it's like no one phonetically, right? So you're going from no one to Number1. That's kind of the clever little shower thought that popped into my head when I was in the shower thinking about my brands and stuff. So anyway, if that would help you in your business, really what I do is a number of things for a company, but really it's about how do you generate revenue? How do you increase the amount of money coming into your company? Money. How do you increase it? I'll tell you a secret here. I got 4 minutes and I'm out of here at the top of the hour. It'll have been a full hour show. So here's how you make money. First of all, you need people. You could be a fucking billionaire. Guess what? Give me Elon Musk. Give me the guy at Virgin, Richard Branson. Give me any of these guys. Put them on a deserted island. The fuck good is that money do? Does nothing. Nothing. Okay? You need people. The more people that you can provide that win-win exchange, like I was talking about with my hat, where you like my hat more than your $30 and I like your $30 more than my hat and we exchange, the more people you can do that with, the more money you'll make. In particular, now there's two different ways to do this. You can do it with a high margin project, which is a lot of times service oriented, right? Or a high volume project, like selling so much Coca-Cola that the pennies become billions of dollars. The margins are skinnier. Like restaurants have horrible margins. It's difficult. You can do it. Look at Tillman Fertitta, another billionaire. Okay. Highly recommend it. Go check out his book, Shut Up and Listen. Great book. Okay. Tillman Fertitta owns some casinos, owns Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, Landry's. I got to hear him speak at GrowthCon last year. It was fantastic. There are ways to make money. So not only do I help companies, but I will not take a bunch because I'll be honest, the money's just not really there for me. And I've got my own goals. I've got 3 kids. I've got 2 parents that I need to take care of, like all that kind of stuff. So I've got my own financial responsibilities, but I will help people that I believe are sincere and will do the work, and I will bootstrap you up. I just got a wonderful testimonial, 2 of them actually. And one of them solicited, I asked him, and the other one came totally unsolicited. Both had a very similar narrative, and both didn't own their own companies. They're working for somebody else, and worked with me, one engagement, and doubled. One guy said, "Man, you doubled my family's income." Do you know what that does for a family of 4 to double the income? Now the kids get bikes. Now they get nice shoes. They get more healthier clothes. They can buy organic. Another buddy said, I more than doubled. Another client, and these people become my friends. I care about them. Said that I more than doubled his income. Okay. So I am willing to help you, but I'm not going to do the work for you, but I'll give you the information that's the important, like I do on this. Okay. This is me. I don't make any money off this. I could be off watching TV or doing something else, but I'm here because I want to help. Okay. So DM me, message me, check me out at scientificwrestling.com, Scientific Wrestler, No1 Coaching. It's spelled like this, like No1 and then coaching.com. Maybe I can help your company. I do that as well. Create lots and lots of money. So I appreciate you guys for showing up, and I will see you guys again tomorrow, probably earlier in the day. This was as soon as I could get to it today. So I really appreciate you spending so much time with me tonight, and everybody that chimed in. I really love that. I love talking to you guys. So thanks for checking in. And if you do want to watch this again, it is up on YouTube. So you just got to type in No1 Coaching. What's up, Jose? Thank you, brother. So all of these are up on YouTube, and they're on Spotify if you want to listen while you're driving or whatever, or if you want to watch it, you can go over to YouTube, find it there. Go to no1.ninja. That's where I put them all, so it's easier for you to find them. No1, like number one dot ninja is the URL. It'll take you right to the page with all the archives, and it has some of my old shows when I was doing mental self-defense. Has the Thomas Oz interview I referenced earlier. Has my interview with the bassist Nirvana, Chris Novoselic. Not even talking about Nirvana, we're talking about ranked choice voting and Fair Vote, which is a great organization. Voting still doesn't work, but at least they're trying to improve it. Lots of great interviews on that one. Anyway, appreciate you guys. You have a fantastic night, and I will see you guys